So here are 5 cheap soldering stations almost everyone ignores, ranked from solid to genuinely hard to believe. The number 1 costs about the same as a nice dinner and uses the same tip technology as irons, 5 times its price. Stick around for that. Number 5. The Yihua 939D+, the cheapest real station that isn't a toy. Here's the mistake beginners make. You want temperature control? The proper brands start around €130, so you panic and buy a fixed wattage fire starter instead, and you're right back to melting desks. The Yihua sits in the gap. About €45 gets you a real digital readout, 200 to 480 Celsius, and a built-in transformer, which is the part that keeps the heat steady instead of swinging around while you work. Where it quietly shines is lead-free solder. Lead-free runs hotter and demands better heat recovery than the old leaded stuff, and that's exactly where cheap irons collapse. The Yihua holds up. The honest catch is that the stock tips wear out faster than name-brand ones, but replacement tips are cheap, and that's not what stands between you and a clean joint. It's the station you buy when you've accepted you need temperature control, but not that you need to spend real money. Number 4. The X-Tronic 3020. The entire bench in one box. This one wins on a different axis. Most stations sell you a station. The X-Tronic sells you a workbench. Around €60 gets you a 75-watt PID-controlled unit. And then the box keeps giving. 2 helping hands clips, a silicone mat, a brass tip cleaner with flux, and a roll of solder. For someone who owns none of the surrounding clutter yet, that bundle is easily worth the €20 premium over the Yihua. But PID is the part that matters. That just means the station constantly measures the tip and corrects it, instead of dumping heat and hoping. The X-Tronic holds within about 2 degrees. That €9 special that ate my desk couldn't hold within 10, and that gap is the entire reason your joints come out shiny instead of looking like chewed gum. It's not built like a Hakko, the iron's a bit bulky, but as the single purchase that takes you from owning nothing to a complete temperature-controlled bench. Nothing else here touches it. Number 3. Weller. And here's where the story gets interesting. Stay with me, because Weller is on this list for a reason that goes back to 1941. Back then, a radio repairman named Carl Weller was sick of one specific thing. His soldering iron took forever to heat up, and he was wasting his life waiting for it on house calls. So he invented a transformer-based tool that heated almost instantly, the soldering gun, and patented it. One magazine at the time called it one of those rare things, a hand tool that was genuinely new and genuinely needed. The whole brand was born from a guy refusing to waste time, which is the irony. More than 80 years later, Weller is owned by a giant tool conglomerate, and its budget stations are where you now waste money instead of time. The numbers are brutal. The Weller WE1010 runs close to €200 and holds within about 10 degrees. A Hakko FX888DX at around 130 holds within 1 degree. That's 10 times the precision for less money. One reviewer asked flatly where the Weller value even is and noticed nobody asks. So why is it here? Because the underrated Weller isn't the new budget station, it's the legacy. Those old corded Weller irons are built like tanks. They turn up secondhand constantly. And because the brand has been everywhere for 50 years, tips and parts are trivial to find. The thing everyone ignores about Weller isn't on a shelf. It's the durability that means a forgotten one in your dad's garage still works perfectly. Buy the badge new and you pay for the name. Rescue an old one and Carl Weller's reputation suddenly makes sense again. Now, if you're seeing the pattern here, that temperature control beats wattage, that the badge and the bundle are distractions from the one spec that counts, do me a favor and hit like. It genuinely helps this kind of honest breakdown reach people about to waste €60 on the wrong box. Number 2, the Pinecil V2, the 30-gram pen that embarrasses bench stations. It barely looks serious. It's a pen, it weighs 30 grams, about 5 sheets of paper, and it costs around €26. It is not a novelty. Plug it into a 65-watt USB-C charger and it hits 350 Celsius in about 6 seconds. For comparison, that Hakko takes around 20 seconds, the Weller about 25. A €26 pen heats 3 to 4 times faster than stations costing 5 to 8 times more. Feed it 24 volts through the barrel jack and it pushes up to 88 watts, which is absurd for something you could lose in a pencil case. But the real story is the firmware. The Pinecil runs open-source firmware called Iron OS, built by a developer who goes by Ralim and maintained by a global community that keeps adding features, fully tunable heat, a boost button for stubborn joints, an accelerometer that cools the tip when you set it down, even Bluetooth so you can watch the temperature on your phone. No bench station at any price ships with a community pushing it free upgrades every few months. It struggles on big copper ground planes and it's not ESD safe, so it's the iron that lives in your repair bag, not your only iron. But for that job, nothing close to the price competes. Number 1. The KSGER T12, the kit that became a professional station. To explain why this wins, I have to go back to Japan, 1952, when a company called Hakko started making soldering gear. For decades, irons had a fundamental flaw. The heating element and the tip were separate parts, with a tiny air gap between them that wasted heat and slowed everything down. Hakko's fix was elegant. They fused the heater, the temperature sensor, and the tip into a single cartridge. They called it the T12. Here's the part that matters for your wallet. That Hakko design became so standard that dozens of manufacturers now build around it, and KSGER makes a station that takes those exact T12 cartridges, often sold as a DIY kit, starting as low as €23 bare, around 55 fully assembled. For that, you get a 32-bit STM32 brain, an OLED screen, 300 Celsius in 8 seconds, and temperature held within about 2 degrees. And because the heater sits millimeters from your work inside the tip, the thermal recovery is genuinely excellent. Touch it to a big heat-sucking joint and it claws the temperature back almost instantly, because the heat source is right there, not back in the handle. Better still, because T12 is a standard, there are over 80 tip shapes that just slot in. Fine SMD work, then a chisel tip for thick wire, swapped in seconds. One reviewer has run his for over 6 years on everything from tiny surface mount parts to 8-gauge cable. It's not flawless. There are too many confusing versions, mine booted up in Chinese, and the aluminum cases have a grounding quirk, so get the plastic enclosure. But push past that, and for the price of a nice dinner you've got the same tip technology Hakko invented, the recovery to match, and 80 tips to grow into. That's why it's number 1. Everything above it costs more. Almost nothing beats it where it counts. So which one surprised you? Team Pinecil, the 30-gram pen that outheats a €200 Weller? Team KSGER, the €23 kit running Hakko's own design? Or Team X-Tronic, the whole bench in a box? Drop it below, I read them.